Let's jump into the QB waiver wire ads for the week. And I'm going to start each position that I do with the flavor of the week. And you already know the flavor of this week is going to be Baker Mayfield. Now, on Sleeper here, he's rostered in 19% of leagues, a lot of dynasty numbers, but on Yahoo and other platforms, it's more around the 35% range. He's the flavor of the week for me. When you go 289 yards through the air and 4 touchdowns, people are going to, people are going to like you. And they got the Lions in week 2. Maybe not the best matchup, but I still like him to throw a lot. And then they got the Broncos in week 3. Not necessarily the best matchup, but I think he's going to be throwing it either way. And Chris Godwin looked amazing out of the slot. And Mike Evans doing Mike Evans things with his 2 touchdowns over there. So yeah, Baker Mayfield, you could do a lot worse. 35% rostered. I think you can pick him up and start him. There's a lot of QBs that got drafted who Baker could start over right now. And even if you're just picking him up to add him on your bench, go ahead and do that. Go ahead and do that. Swoop him up.
Pick him up.
I got 3 quarterbacks that I'm picking up with confidence this week. Baker Mayfield was one of them. He's the one I'm the most confident in. But the guy who I'm second most confident in, Derek Carr, people are hating on him a lot. And it shows here 42% rostered on Sleeper. It's a lot of dynasty, but I go to Yahoo for my redraft percentages, and he's only 10% rostered in redraft leagues on Yahoo. So he's very, very available. 3 touchdowns, very, very efficient with the passes as well. He's not going to be playing the Panthers every week. So that is one thing that sucks because he is going up against the Cowboys, and the Cowboys D look very nice this past week, but I'd still start him. They're going to be throwing it a lot. If they're down at all, that just means he's going to be throwing it even more. So we do that because it could be some garbage time. And then week 3, they got the Eagles. Not the best matchup, but you would assume for a game like that, a little bit of garbage time at the end. Hopefully you drafted a QB where you don't have to go pick up one of these guys. But if you do, you could do a lot worse than Derek Carr. That's for sure. I got one other QB that I would pick up with confidence, and a lot of it is because of the cast around him, not necessarily because of him, but it's Geno Smith. Oh yeah, and 171 yards in the opening, not the best versus the Broncos. And there was a big portion of the game where they were just playing very conservative and they didn't even really have to throw it. They were playing with the lead, and so that was one of those things. Ken Walker got a lot of work like in the end until he got hurt. But he did get a passing TD and a rushing TD. And so if that's going to be a thing where he could potentially mix in a rushing TD, we love it even more. Got the Patriots in week 2, and then you got the Dolphins in week 3. Patriots might not be the best matchup. That is for sure. Might not be the best matchup for him, but Dolphins should be decent, should be throwing it a lot as well. And so you could do a lot worse than Geno. Shows here in Sleeper, 68% roster. That's because a lot of dynasties. In redraft leagues on Yahoo, it's around the 32% range. So very, very available in redraft leagues and leagues that are not dynasty leagues on Sleeper. So yeah, Geno Smith, you could do a lot worse picking up this week. How about this? You can do a lot worse than Geno Smith. So add him this week if you need to. All right, so I got 2 dart throw guys that are coming up, but here's someone that I got to mention because I feel like a lot of people are going to think Malik Willis is going to be the flavor of the week. He is so bad at the quarterback position. I don't care if you have Justin Love. I don't care if you have Jordan Love. Go get somebody else because Malik Willis ain't him. He was good in college. He's been bad ever since he came to the NFL. Do you remember that he was so bad that the Titans picked up Josh Dobbs off of another team's practice squad? Pretty sure it was the Browns practice squad to come play on a Thursday night on short rest above Malik Willis because he was so bad. So don't pick him up. If you think that he's going to be good, pick him up as trade bait. Pick him up and trade him to the Jordan Love manager if that's not you, and try to get a wide receiver or a running back. Try to do that. That would be the move for Malik Willis, not to pick him up and actually play him. I know he's going up against the Colts, and that's not like a really bad matchup. Don't start him. Don't pick him up and start him. Pick him up and trade him. That's all you should do with them. And nobody's probably going to trade you for him. So unless you're in a super flex league, do what you can. If you're in a dynasty, pick him up. Try to trade him right away. That's the only value that he's going to have for us. Now, before we get into the last QB for the week, here's another dart throw. Gardner Minshew going up against the Chargers. It wasn't the best game by anybody's standards, but he did have over 250 yards. He's got the Ravens this week, so it's a horrible matchup. But this is another add and stash type of guy. He lost a fumble. Those are the things that we're going to have to deal with. Gardner Minshew, turnovers. We should be getting some of these big plays in as well. And he has Baltimore this week, but he has Carolina the week after. And freaking Carolina made Derek Carr look like Joe Montana or something. So, yeah, Gardner Minshew, even if you're adding him and stashing him for week 3 because your QB in week 3 doesn't have a good matchup, you could do a lot worse than Gardner Minshew. But we're not playing him in week 2 versus the Ravens. He's only 5% rostered in Yahoo redraft leagues. I'm sure it's very similar on ESPN and NFL. And you look here, he's only rostered in 3% of leagues on Sleeper. And so, yeah, Gardner Minshew, he's going to be one of those stash dart throw guys, but go ahead and do it. You could do a lot worse than the stash Minshew himself. On a lot of these waiver wire sections, I'm going to throw the dart throws in there, guys who are rostered in a little bit less of leagues. Sam Darnold, you see here, he's only rostered in 3% of sleeper leagues. That's pretty bad, even for dynasty leagues. But those single QB leagues, you wouldn't be going down as far as Darnold. In redraft leagues, he's about 10% rostered. And not a good matchup in week 2, going up against the 49ers. Really bad matchup, to be specific. But you could do a lot worse than him moving down the road. And let's say he does go out there and throw for 2 touchdowns against the 49ers. Even if he doesn't have a good outing, like yardage-wise, his value is still going to rise. And with a guy like Justin Jefferson out there, with him to throw to, it makes his life a lot easier most of the time. So that's the one thing that I'm going to say about Darnold. I don't love him. 208 yards. He did have 2 touchdowns in week 1, but he's going up against the Giants. A little bit of a difference between the Giants and the 49ers, like caliber of defense. But like I said, you're picking up a guy like Sam Darnold. It's going to be more like a speculative ad for the future. And yeah, shitty game going up against the 49ers. But even if he has a somewhat halfway decent game, he's going to be one of the flavors of the week going into week 3 versus the Texans. Texans have a good defense, but it seems like because their offense and everything, they showed they can give up the big play, and that's who he's got 2 weeks from now. So Sam Darnold, it's a dart throw and someone that you're going to put on your bench and not play this week, but more of a long-term ad. Darnold Schwarzenegger, there you go. And if it's your first time watching the waiver wire videos with me, hit that subscribe button and click on any one of the videos that's popping up right now, because we got all the other positions. Click it, click it, click it, click it, click it.